Okay, I've started recording. Today we are discussing workplace traffic safety management. And we are not going to talk more about, we are not going to dwell more on theories. We are going to learn from each other, just like we've always done. We are going to discuss how we do it in our workplace. You are going to give us your own experience, how you manage workplace traffic to prevent accident, collision between vehicles and pedestrians. And we learn from each other. Maybe there are some positive or good practices that you've been implementing that others can learn from and implement. So first, when you talk about traffic management, what do we mean by traffic management? By traffic management, we mean those procedures or the plans that you put in place to control movement of either equipment, vehicles, or people from one place to the another. So traffic management also involves control of both stationary and moving traffic. So this includes pedestrians, cyclists, all vehicles in the workplace, including heavy equipment. So if we control traffic properly, then there will be decrease or low risk of traffic accident or maybe collision between equipment, between workers and the moving vehicles in the workplace. So the plan, there is what is now referred to as traffic management plan. Traffic management plan is that document where you outline all the measures or all the procedures, all the sequences through which you are going to put in place to control traffic flow, to reduce accidents and ensure that you comply to relevant regulations in your workplace. So for you to have an effective traffic safety management plan, you should involve everyone in the workplace. So traffic, you are not just talking about just the equipment or the vehicles alone. Traffic management involves both pedestrians as well. So everyone in the workplace should be properly involved while during the development of traffic management plan. Also, traffic management plan should not be a static document. It should be a procedure that is progressive. It should be developing. It doesn't start on a one-time procedure, which means there could be changes in the workplace. There could be changes even in the main plan of the surrounding of the workplace. So if these changes occurs, then it has to affect the workplace traffic management plan as well. So if the traffic management plan is not properly done, if it's not properly followed and it's not properly communicated as well, then we are sure that both the workers or the visitors or anybody could get injured. So, like I said before, I wouldn't be talking much on this, but first I'll give Stephen room to share his slide, then before we go to discussions.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you have access.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about workplace traffic safety management. Just like Mr. Johnson have said, this topic and discussion is very, very important, especially Most especially for those of us who work in a construction environment. Don't get me wrong. There's traffic management in all uh, um, places of our work, even in the process industry. There are people who manage traffic even within the factory. You know, you could have a plan to be able to control traffic, giving a safe marking and all that. Okay, but maybe some emphasis will just be focused on probably the construction industry. As we all know that the basic reason for this is to ensure that the safety of employee in a traffic intense working environment. Okay, that is very this management of traffic is very important. Okay, now what this presentation will do is to explore some current one or two regulations, risk assessment, control measure, and how we could be able to monitor and effective traffic management within the workplace. Now, there are some basic importance, you know, why organization, you know, who involve in activity that could pose a risk to traffic-related accidents, you know, on the workplace. It is very important that such organizations are aware of the reasons, you know, why this traffic safety management should be implemented. You know, like in Qatar, I will just take an example, like where we are locally here in Qatar, all the road work, these are projects that are awarded by Ashgar, which is the government body that is responsible for this construction of roadworks and all that, even the maintenance. So we have local regulation, local guidelines that in fact, you cannot just do anything without having a full compliance. So by so doing, you are likely not to have a company just going to the site and start working without complying to all this requirement and all that. So basically, like I've said, one of the importance is that human costs, okay? Because there's a cost, as a professional, we know that there's a cost related to traffic accident in terms of human cost, because when an accident happens, either to the worker or the public, it could result to a serious injury or fatality. And we all know the implication of that, okay? Even if you say, oh, somebody died in your site due to traffic accident, blah, 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 like that, and then you decide to compensate and all that, what about the reputation of the company? What about the reputation of this organization? How do you expect people to see such an organization? It happens once, it happens twice. So there will be a very bad reputation about the company. So that's why it is good to have a proactive safety measure, you know, in terms of traffic management to at least boost, you know, the reputation of any organization. And also it is important because we need to comply. An organization need to comply to legal requirement. Like I said in Qatar here, I don't think these are Ashgar projects, these are government projects. You don't just even start it without complying. So you must comply. There will be monitoring of all activities and all that. So you see, these are the importance why organizations should be able to manage work-related traffic safety issues, okay? And also, when it goes to economic impact, we know what could be the implication to an organization because it will cost you less. Let me say in Qatar now, maybe an accident happened, there's what we call blood money, maybe somebody died, or the company will be fined maybe 200,000 Qatari riyals. Okay, so imagine if many happens, maybe 5 happens within the construction period, you discover that you're spending 1 million of Qatari riyal to compensate for life. But you know, that is not even enough because the 200,000 cannot bring back life. Okay, I think it happens to a friend of mine that we worked shortly in one project like that. He died maybe last year or 2 years ago. he was working in the maintenance and this road maintenance company. So a jeep just came at night and hit him towards a barrier and all that, and towards, yeah, there's these barriers they're having on the roadside. So he died instantly. This is somebody that I know. Okay, so there's always an implication for not complying to all this. Okay, so that is why it is very important. We have to look at these areas. What will be the cost to human life? What will be the cost to the organization? What is the legal implication if an organization is not complying to this? And also the reputational damage to set in. So it's very important, as we all know as a professional, we could also advocate, preach. We might not find ourselves in a government project here in Qatar or anywhere you are, but at least in a private organization, they might want to compromise. But we could use all these points, you know, to be able to convince management that these are the reasons why they should be able to have a safety management as related to work safety traffic. Now, just a couple of regulations, like I just want to reference OSHA, because there's a requirement, or will I say a traffic standard that regulates workplace traffic management within the United States. This is the federal law, because the OSHA standard that regulate work in the work in traffic are found in 29 CFR 1926 subpart G. These are the federal OSHA requirements. So in some states, you know, in the United States, there are some states that have their own internal guidelines and all that, will I say that not really will I say complement that of the federal. Okay, but like I've said earlier, in Qatar, we have our own, we have local traffic law here and regulations such that stipulate, you know, give requirements for speed limits, stop sign, pedestrian, right of ways and all that. Because if you go, there's what we call Qatar Construction Specification 2014. If you go to section 6, between part 10 to 17, you see information or guidance regarding or that is peculiar, or will I say that is regulating traffic in general road work in Qatar. Okay, and we also have an issue guidelines or guidance document on work zone traffic management, you know, issued by ASGA. There's a recent revision of this guidance document 1.2, which was updated in November 2015 by ASGA. All these things are available online, that guides people, that guides company, what are the procedures you're going to follow, what is expected to be seen in a temporary traffic management plan. In this document, you also have a called traffic diversion plan. So this plan will give you a kind of, within the plan, there are a lot of provision, there are a lot of requirements inside, which is a traffic diversion registration form, which this needs to be applied for and get approval from the government, from the authority. There's traffic management drawing. This document must be provided. So if you look at the requirements, you will know that at least there's a safety, there's a standard, you know, that must be followed. If you follow all this standard and continuous monitoring and supervision, then you have a smooth work within the road area without any fatality or serious injury, as the case may be. So there's always a clearance plan, there's contingency plan. You know, there must be plan in place so that in case what you have already, something happened, you know, irrespective of the plan. So what are the contingency plans we have in place to be able to rescue, and, you know, just like an emergency situation happens, for example. So we should have a plan to curtail such. Okay, so, and there must be a plan for work zone safety audits. You know, you have to audit what control measure you've put in place, you know, to see if they are in compliance with the set standard or guidelines or regulation. Okay, so there's also going to be a kind of traffic management assessment. You are going to assess the overall management of traffic and see if is in line with the applicable local or international guidelines that are available or that are being implemented within such an organization. Because in this traffic diversion plan, you know, they will give you, you see a set of guidelines that will tell you, okay, this is the right of way, this is advanced warning area, this is temporary, there will be a kind of temporary traffic sign and barrier, transition area, the safety buffer, the walk zone, the clear zone, where it's accessible for pedestrian and all that. So when you see there's this, what I have here on the screen, you see this just reflect what I said. This is just a typical pictorial example of what happened when there is a kind of construction or the kind of construction work activity within the road that they have to divert the traffic. Okay, so you see there's a signage, there's everything, there's a barrier that will begin to give this advanced warning sign. You know, there will be a markings and everything that at least for vehicles that are coming, either bicycle, either motorbike, either car or whatever, or human. So there's already a dedicated area for pedestrians to walk and even for the vehicle. So you have to divert all those movement of traffic. So, and there's also within this space, there's also a safety buffer. There's a walk area. You know, there's a way that this thing is properly arranged that you will know that, okay, this is advanced warning area, this is transitional area, this is safety buffer area, this is walk area, this is termination zone, you know, and so on and so forth. You know, so because for those people who are walking, they also need their safety in as much as you're also protecting that of the public. So this is just a kind of a pictorial form of how it is here in Qatar. I wouldn't know how it is applicable. Maybe they have the same set, but definitely internationally, they should have a set standard like this because whatever happens locally are drawn from the international perspective. So, and basically as a professional, okay, our interest is about identifying the hazards, okay? There should be a room to identify the hazard and assess the risk that are involved, you know, in the process of walking, probably on the roadside, and you're going to divert traffic, okay? Because when you walk on the roadside, there's likely tendency of collision, accidents, you know, and so on and so forth, you know, and this could result to a serious injury or even fatality. So for our fundamental knowledge process, the way we do things, you know, within such work area, we should be able to identify traffic hazards, those hazards that are associated with the environment that we are working. Having identified the hazard, we have to assess the risks by, you know, looking at the likelihood and the severity of the risks or of the accident happening. So then we proceed by prioritizing a control measure and allocate sufficient resources that can be able to help us manage such risks within the workplace, and also implementing an effective control measure by, like I've said, like implementing the temporary traffic management plan, traffic diversion plan, the signage barrier, training of workers is very important because you cannot put everything in place without training, because training is very, very vital. The information is very, very vital, whatever you share. Because if you do this thing in isolation without collaborating, engaging worker, without training them, then they will not be able to have the knowledge of the risk within their workspace. Okay, so they need to have this information. They need to know the right place to take to assess the work zone, and so on and so forth. So it is very important that that information in terms of education and training is incorporated in the process. And also, like I've said, implementing the effective control measure. Here we're talking about traffic management plan. All this I've said before, but at least if we could just see the picture, you should be able to tell us what we are talking about. We could see like the physical barrier and signages are very, very important also to inform the public especially those who uses vehicle, to inform them what are the speed limit they are going to drive, to give them information ahead that there's construction work happening ahead. They should slow down their speed and all that. These things are just temporarily, because once the project is completed, the area will be cleared and allow for easy access of vehicular movement. And very importantly, like I've said earlier also, monitoring and evaluating traffic safety is very, very important. And like I've said in Qatar here, for those of us who are here, we know how it is when you are involved in ASGA projects. So external people come for inspection and audit, so it is very important that this process is carried out in compliance with all safety procedure or protocol, to be able to identify areas for improvement. No matter how we try to implement, we might not have a perfect system. There might be some areas that there's a loopholes and all that. So this regular inspection and audit will be able to open up areas that are not really strong enough to be able to make a strong improvement within such an area. And also, in the case of any incident report that have been reported in the past, any near misses and all that. So this need to be revisited, this need to be analyzed, this need to be, need to go through it and understand the root causes of what led to the near misses, because we know the implication of when you keep recording near misses and all that. So when you look at all those things, you're able to determine the root cause and all those things. Then you're able to take a kind of corrective action for future reoccurrence, if it is accident, and if that is related to near miss, to prevent it from happening in recent. Okay, so, and also keep updating control measure. Just like Mr. Johnson has said, this diversion plan or traffic management plan is a live document. These are documents that you don't just do and keep it under the pillow, under the locker, the drawer for years. If possible, it can be changing every day as things goes on, as the nature of work changes, as the weather changes, as everything changes. So these things will keep changing, just like as humans grow day by day. So that is why they used to call it a living document, because it can change at any time, in as much as we have a standard time period that, okay, maybe it should be reviewed every year or every 6 months, depending on the project or the organization or who laid down this guidance, So, but be that as it may be, as a safety professional, we know that if there's anything that occurred during the process, such document can be reviewed, changes can be made. And in conclusion, like I've said, it's very important of a continuous improvement, because if we'll be able to apply all this, we'll be able to improve the safety and also any risk that emerges during the course, of the work that have not been identified, maybe prior to starting the work. Okay, because as you keep going doing the work, you're beginning to see some risks that are originally are not even supposed to be there, but because of individual, we can create some risks within the workplace. Okay, so that is why it is very good inspection, audit. All those things are very important, as we all know as a professional. And also we need to encourage a safety culture. This kind of foster a culture where everyone takes responsibility, everyone sees safety as their responsibility, that safety is not just for the safety officers, because no matter what safety officers tries to do, if you as a worker, you decide to boycott, or to shunt the guidelines that have been put in place in order for you to work safely and not to involve in accident, and you decide to go otherwise, at the end of the day, it's going to affect you as an individual, as a worker. So that's why it is very, very important and mandatory that everybody sees it and take it as their respective responsibility to ensure that we maintain and have a safe working environment. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share this little information. I believe as we share our individual experience, we'll be able to pour more light on some areas that have not been covered by this slide, either from my side and that of Mr. Johnson. Thank you very much for listening. Mr. Johnson, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stephen, for that wonderful presentation. So this our workshop is where we draw experiences from others, and just like Mr. Stephen has explained, we go to the next phase of the workshop where we listen to individuals and we draw experience from how you operate or how you take care of your traffic management in your workplace. Not limited to only construction, we want to also learn from those in other sectors, like those in warehouses. We want to also have those information, especially for some people who have not been into those industries. So the information we'll get from now will also help us in future when we get to other industries. So the floor is open now for whoever wants to take lead.
David Obiki. Not had your voice for a very long time.
Our guy is sleeping. Okay, Mr. David, you raise your hand. Go ahead.
Actually, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I am happy to be here today. I missed some sessions some days ago. Mine is actually a kind of a question and a guidance. In my workplace, recently we embarked on a mobilization plan to prepare the site for the project. So I want to find out something. I want to get it clear. When will this traffic management plan be implemented? Is it after the mobilization plan, or should it be incorporated into the system now that the mobilization plan is actually in progress? Because in a case where I am trying to make a plan for pedestrian and vehicles, but the plans keep changing. They don't even have a specific area where they want to place this or place that. The plans keep changing, and then the barriers and the pedestrian route keep being interfered with. So I want to exactly know, when will this traffic management plan be fully implemented? Is it after the mobilization plan, or should it be incorporated into the system? Thank you.
Can I come in before maybe Mr. Johnson will say one or two things?
Okay,
if I may get you right, because you are using the word implemented. One thing is to develop the plan. And for you to implement the plan, okay, it means the project, the activity must kickstart. You don't implement in absentia of the activity itself, because if you are implementing, who are you implementing it for? So I don't want to believe that probably, like you said, mobilization, okay, probably much activity has not been going on, or maybe little has been, but at least from the word, what it means, mobilization, you are just bringing people, maybe equipment, you are mobilizing those things to the site and all that. Now, what it means by implication is this. This plan should have been developed, okay, even before you mobilize, before you begin to take things on site, even equipment. Because the moment you begin to take those things on site, you're already occupying some space that are supposed to be free for movement, okay, whether by human being or by equipment. So now, I wouldn't know your location precisely, but I know here in Qatar, before you even go to sites, your plan is one of the requirements. Before you have a clearance, before you have an access to even mobilize and go to that site, that spot, your plan would have been prepared. Okay, so like if you understand what we were saying, along the line, because the plan is a living document, for sure, you must have a, would I say maybe a kind of generic plan, you know, with experience, you know, that we say, okay, these are the basic things, because of course the plan should be able to tell you, you are going to have the speed limit, all those things, how you are going to barricade. These are standard. These are standard information that whether the project start or not is just basic. All those things need to be incorporated in the plan. Then along the line, when the project kickstarts, then you begin to see a lot of review can begin to set in. Okay, a lot of, like a country who have a set standard, you discover that they might have built that guidelines or that guidance document or standard based on sense of experience, even within the local and international, to make sure that whatever you draft within your plan, you discover that at least you are meeting 80% of what you are going to face in that project. So in my submission is that the plan needs to be fully developed before you even mobilize. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stephen. You have answered well. I just want to add a few things to make it clear. You are asking when is the traffic management plan should be in place. It should be in place before mobilization. That's one thing I want you to get clearly. You should have your traffic management plan, which includes the diversion plan and everything. And that should be in place. While you are preparing your HSE plan, all these documents should be in place. Sometimes it goes through, it's required during the contractual stage, but sure, it should be in place before mobilization. And believe in me that practically, it will not go exactly the way you have prepared it on the document. There's going to be on-site changes, but it should be agreed upon by both the management, site management, and the HSC. Everybody should be updated, and you keep updating before implementation, not just implement, not when it has been changed on site before we go and change in documents. No, it should be, we should sit down and agree if maybe gate A was in the south side and maybe because of other activities, I decide to change the direction or the position of that gate. It should be adequately communicated to everyone and agreed upon, and this site traffic plan updated before the implementation. So this is how it's supposed to be. Though we know that most times, especially in the construction industry, they realize to update something when it's too late. Sometimes there's no proper planning. So, but this is what we'll continue advocating, that we'll keep communicating with our management, keep educating and enlightening them until something better is achieved. All right, I am sure that we'll give you some answers that will be useful.
Yeah. Yes, you're very useful, very useful.
All right, the floor is open for other contributions. Mr. Femi is here, Mr. David Bikri is here. So let's speed up our time.
Sunday.
Come on, guys, what's going on today? Let us talk about how we implement our traffic management plan in this site. What are the good practices you are doing so that others can learn from it?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Yes,
good evening, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, traffic management in the construction site is an essential aspect of a construction activity that I know. Like I've been in the construction for some good numbers of years now, and even from Nigeria to Iraq to Saudi Arabia. We use first and foremost the kind of traffic management process we practice in Nigeria and what we also practice here at the moment that I see. A very good step. I know I was in the project site where we develop early works, bush clearings, and filling, and before we start properly construction activity. And in most cases, then this traffic management plan is a standalone document that we have in place that we use as it directs us how we are going to map out the traffic of our construction site activity. One, just as both of you have said, the pedestrian route and the heavy equipment route and the light vehicle route and all the necessary risks are well analyzed. Now, in addition, there was one beautiful things we do in this traffic management system. While in Nigeria, then in Cyprus, in SSAGS, then we have what is called heavy equipment coordinator. Now, this heavy equipment coordinator, when third party and some other heavy equipment are coming to site, from before they will go into the site, take a proper inspection, including the heavy equipment coordinator. In most cases, it's from assets. After this inspection is done and record are taken, even including with security sometimes, because security will be the one to call that we are receiving this kind of equipment. Okay, from there, we're going to tell you, okay, this is your route that you are going to use. And these are the speed limits that you operate within the site of your route. This was one of the best and the beautiful structures that I come across then in Nigeria. Then per se, here again in Saudi Arabia, in our yard here, we have a very beautiful same system. It was just like copy from Nigeria down to this place. And what I met here really impressed me. We also have the same. We have separate pedestrian for tricycles. Same pedestrian are also used sometimes by personnel who walked on the leg. And even in the site, we have different diversion signs and heavy equipment route like this. Even here again, we have the equipment coordinator from the asset team. This was one thing that really impressed me. And in this heavy equipment coordinator from asset team, he is in charge that controls heavy equipment on the site, direct them, give them guidelines, those who will follow this equipment to follow the actual route from point A to point B. And normally, if as they are moving, all train fragments or traffic guys are there to also guide this movement of equipment. So this is another good practice that I met here, which gives a very good example of how equipment should be controlled on site. And drivers also know how they should move. Even third parties vehicles that come into the site are forced. From the gate, you are being informed, you have to wait, somebody has to come and show you where you are going to pass through. That is how we are managing our own traffic management here. Even when I go outside sometimes, the same process, just as you guys said in Qatar, is applicable here. Those who are doing the road maintenance in Saudi Arabia here, they have these agencies that control before you start, you must put in barriers. If they are doing some session repairs on the road, you must put in dedicated barriers demarcating the route. Even if they are going to use, maybe they're working on maybe one of the middle lane, there is a safe traffic management process that is already there. You will see there is no way there will be a collision of vehicles because before they start working, there are a lot of barriers that are put in place to make sure no vehicle come in collision or rather impact on the activity that is already going on. So the same process is also going on here in Saudi Arabia. So traffic management, as per se, is a key before construction activity begins. It's a live document because you are going to deal with a lot of human beings on site. So this is one of the documents that will guide you how a site that involves personnel, equipment, and even people using tricycles on site. So from the induction room, most of them are even is also included in the induction package, so that you will be aware already as you are going into the site for your very first time that this is how the site layout is being managed, this is the traffic route, and this is how you are going to manage your own route, so that there will be no conflict of human beings and equipment coming together. So that is my own contribution.
All right, thank you, Mr. Francis. We appreciate that contribution. I'll give Mr. Femi the opportunity. Mr. Femi, you can unmute and continue.
Good evening, my people.
Good evening.
I'm very happy to be here because it's always been a learning experience. And for someone like me who is currently not at work, this renews your mind and refreshes your mind and keep you updated. So it's an advantage. My contribution is that Mr. David now? Yeah, Mr. David raised the question. And my addition to your answers is that one of the reasons why it's very important to prepare the traffic management plan ahead is that it also enables compliance, because everybody coming to site is going to meet this already in place. So it's easier to tag along and enforce compliance. One thing I've learned is that when the system is not in place, when people are moving to site, to start midway becomes an issue, because from beginning, they are not used to it. So we should, there is need for us to enforce that, ensure that ensuring traffic management plan in place and enforcing it prior to full start of the job is very, very important, because both for management and for workers, it makes them to know that this is the requirement, and enforcement is easy from that perspective. Secondly, there have been so many accidents on site or incidents that we've experienced. I experienced one while I was in Iraq, when a tanker fell off the road because the edge of the road was not clearly demarcated. So this was a water tanker transporting water from the camp to the site. And while on the site, the tanker moved too close to the edge of the road, and the portion gave way. Yes, the tanker fell off. So there is need for a part of traffic management is to ensure that there are proper demarcations for our access roads. And just like Mr. Stevens said also, and I think you two mentioned it, proper demarcation between equipment and personnel is also very important. Just like confirming what Mr. Francis said, while we were in Opokushi, we had that management in place, that there was a clear demarcation, barriers made between pedestrian walkway and vehicle walkway, vehicle access. So this is also very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. You see, there's in one of the projects I did here in Qatar, there's one good practice that we implemented. We had a no reverse policy for equipment. So that made us to have a temporary roundabout. So you come in from one gate and you will exit from another gate. You will not have, there's no room for reversing, and you know, reversing a vehicle or an equipment is the easiest way to cause accident, because most times you will not be seeing your back very well, and you will be relying on people controlling the vehicle. So that no reversing policy helped to reduce the frequent accident that we are getting related to traffic management. So I think that's one of the best practices also that could be implemented in the workplace. Ensure that vehicles do not reverse in the workplace, and if we can have two different gates, one for exit, one for entrance, then there will be a limited room for collision or maybe getting in contact with each other. And a different access or maybe a well-demarcated pedestrian walkway will also help to ensure that the equipment or the vehicles do not come in contact with the pedestrians. So that is a little addition from me. We have few minutes to finish. So if someone else want to speak, we can have go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eko.
Sorry, I was supposed to raise my hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me quickly, I think we have only 3 minutes or 2. Okay, thank you, everyone. Honestly, you know, like I appreciate this circle a lot. Mr. Femi said something. He said, especially now that that he's not at work. I'm in the same shoe. Honestly, HSC, whenever we leave it, maybe sometimes when we leave it, it starts leaving us. You know, it's a general situation of life. You know? So this gathering has been a place to learn. There's something I don't want to say how we are implementing. I just want to emphasize on a particular part in traffic management. You know, you could put all the whole necessary measure in place, but the personnel, who is the personnel? The driver, the pilot, or the driver, who drives the vehicle, who drives the equipment, could be a problem. You know, there is one of these. When I worked in Port Harcourt when I came back from UAE. There's one of these projects I went to Port Harcourt. I was just having a good time with some few drivers they brought in for induction. But that was more than induction. I was trying to let them know that, you see, when anything happens to you and you end the life of people and end your own life, you see, a lot of people suffer. I was trying to give them the mind that there is no benefit in trying to speed up so that they will tell you are the best. You drive, in fact, you are the best expert. You drive like an asphalt, whatever competition or whatever. Then I discovered that some of them actually discovered that drivers have one situation. They want to be treated well. They want to be given a respect. You understand? Because there are two key people I fear a lot in my life. One is driver. Second is somebody who prepares meal for me, person that prepares food for me. These two people are very, very delicate. You need to respect them because first of all, they are the one driving you. They can decide to put you in the bush. They can decide to put company's vehicle in any swamp, and the company will suffer for it, and the company name will be in trouble. So I want to let us know that wherever we are working, if it's always possible, please let's give the right drivers some sort of training awareness and make them know that they are one of the major key in this company, you know, because transport safety is a very, very delicate and very, very important subject, you know, that sometimes even as HSA practitioners, most of the company, once they have somebody who manages like road safety coordinator, like so many company does, but some cases we don't even have the opportunity to have such persons. We need to be very, very optimistic about this set of people, drivers. We need to give them training. drivers, equipment drivers, and all that. We need to give them training, to give them awareness. We need to make them understand their importance and how they can help us make sure our man hour is properly maintained without any lost time injury. You understand? So that is what I want to remind us. Personnel, even after we put the road demarcation, put that, put this, and the personnel are crazy. At the end of the day, our push may be defeated. The reason our mandate may be defeated on towards transport safety. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunday. That was a wonderful contribution, because there's nothing much you can achieve without safe personnel. Not just the drivers, there are these operators. In this place, in this part of the world where we work, there is a particular nationality that are more engaged in equipment operation. And most times they are too aggressive. And the taking care of them and managing their temperament very well becomes a very important issue for us. Because if you don't manage their temperament very well, and if they are not treated well, and they can go extra mile to cause havoc, and they don't care. They are too hard, stone-hearted. So everyone should take it as a point of importance to ensure that the equipment operators and drivers are well taken care of. It's very, very important. Thank you very much for that contribution. All right, it's already past 7, and I want to thank you all for coming today. We had a wonderful discussion. So let's do well to subscribe to our social medias, YouTube and Facebook. So, and topics, we need to get involved in choosing our topics as well. So if you have important topics that we can discuss, just give me a chat and we schedule it and we discuss it. So thank you guys for coming today. We'll meet again next week, Thursday.
Okay. Have a nice day, guys.
Yes, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunday. Thank you, Femi.
To every one of you.
Thank you. Samuel, and thank you very much. Ahmed. And this Tayab, thank you for coming.
Ahmed Doron, my safety officer.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So today we have wonderful session, and after the session, will you issue the CPD certificate?
Yes, just send me a WhatsApp message with your full name. I've just entered the my WhatsApp number there. So just send me a message with your full name, and we'll prepare the certificate.
So I am writing in the message box.
Just send me on the WhatsApp. I might, if we close this chat, it will not come. It might not come. You see my WhatsApp number there, right? So just send me hi.
Yeah,
so that
I got it.
I'll have your number as well.
Yeah, I just need to add a country code before entering.
Yes, +974. That's our country code.
+97.
Yeah, 974. That's Qatar.
Okay, so what will be your name?
My name is Johnson. Yes, my name is Johnson.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I'm sending to you.
Yeah, send me a message. So subsequent sessions also, I will send you update. All right, see you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation.
All right.
So the